All right, we've got a Preds preview coming your way. Stay tuned. Can Utah end the home season with a big-time win? We're going to talk about it on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. I'm veteran NHL voice Tom Callahan, joined by longtime team analyst Robyn Leaño, and together we're going to talk some Utah Hockey Club with you. It's the final home game of the regular season coming up here, a Thursday night affair against the Nashville Predators. If you haven't caught a game, this is your last chance of the regular season. Plus, later on in the show, we're going to talk about a Utah Hockey Clubber who's been nominated for some hardware. And we're going to talk to you about the Fan Fest activities going on, Fan Appreciation Night on Thursday. There's plenty going on, so we want to talk all about that. But on the ice, Robyn, I cannot believe we have reached home game 41. This will be the last time of the regular season the Utah Hockey Club touches the ice, and it's against Nashville.
It's amazing time. It really did feel like just yesterday you and I were doing our live pre and post game show for opening night, right? It felt like it was just then. Like it felt, but time has gone by so much, and now we're instead of home game number one, and not just this season, but of this franchise. Now we're on, home game number 41 of this season.
It's gone by just so quickly, and I'm sure a lot of fans would agree. I mean, there's been highs, there's been lows, and we're going to save all that looking back stuff for much later.
Oh, yeah.
We're not getting into that now because we have to preview this Preds game, and two teams coming in off 7-goal outbursts, mind you, that couldn't be any more different. 7-1 total domination for Utah on Tuesday night of the Seattle Kraken. Meanwhile, Nashville comes in after a 7-6 overtime win over the Islanders, in which they trailed a couple of times and had to battle just to stay in a really high-scoring hockey game, and eventually did come out with the second point.
I know, it's like the whole different kinds of games, and kind of like an interesting point of the season, right? Where at this point, it doesn't really affect what their point in the standings. I mean, Utah can't affect their point in the standings. They're placed in the standings a little bit. They can move up one spot, but neither of the teams making the playoffs.
That, unfortunately, is the grim reality of the situation. But one of the things that, Robyn, is important to me, and I want to get your take on it here, coming down the stretch, we've talked about it, though, for next year, for the summer. How are you going in? How are you approaching these last couple of games here? How do you carry yourself? What are you executing out there on the ice? And I'm going to be honest with you. We said Seattle's a team they should beat. Not only did they beat Seattle, they ground them into a powder and threw them in the trash. Like they really jumped on Seattle. They didn't even score in the third period. They called the dogs off by then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to see that kind of trend continue, because let's be real here, Tom. Like Utah needs to show that there is a true separation between them and the teams that that obviously are non-playoff teams. We want to see Utah be in a position in which they it looked like, it could have swung either way.
And Nashville is one of those teams. Nashville is a team below you in the standings that, look, there's too much talent on that Nashville roster for them to have the season they had, but they had it. Yeah. The facts are the facts. They've had a horrible season. They are an awful road team. They are. Remember how we talked many times during the season about teams being good on the road? No, Nashville on the road this year, 9-25-5. They're a bad road team. So everything, all conditions, all signs indicate that Utah should once again be ready to have a dominating performance.
Yeah, but they shouldn't expect it, right? We've seen what happens when a team kind of gets a little too complacent and whatever. And that's why I want to see a game like how Utah played against Seattle, is just go out full on attack And then once you get that level of separation, yeah, third period, you can kind of get your rest a little bit at that point. Like, you don't want to make the other team angry, because at that point, because you have to play them again one more time,
right?
A couple games later.
And it's interesting too, Robyn. I've been watching a lot of around the league hockey, and what I'm noticing is we're starting to get a playoff-like feel to a bunch of these games now. The intensity's ramping up. Teams know their time is short. They're trying to elevate their game. And I think Utah should be one of those teams for obviously different reasons. The postseason's not happening this year for the hockey club, but I feel like, this is their chance to show, hey, this is what it looks like when we get 10, 15, 20 games under our belt with the same defense, that same amount of time with a mostly healthy lineup, not 100%, but mostly healthy lineup. This is where you give the fans something to look forward to for next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what you would hope this team will do. I mean, we talked about this team being a rebuilding team, since the since the Andre Chorny era of the then Arizona Coyotes started. We're like, all right, we know where this team is going to be for the next couple of years, and they're going to be growing every year, and that's what they've been doing, right? I mentioned in yesterday's episode that last year's Arizona Coyotes ended with 77 points. Utah, at the time of this recording, of course, before pregame going into Preds, are at 84 points. So, they can easily move them, move up and get a couple extra 2 points, a couple extra, even 6 points or whatever it is going down the stretch here, to kind of get themselves right there in that on the upper end, which is a trend in the right direction. But what we want to see is continued progress. We want it even better next year. And I feel like this portion of the season, this final, these final 4 games, it's really going to be telling on what direction and at how close to the next step this team is going to be.
And boy, I'd love to christen next year playoffs or bust, but the Central is so stacked. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to stop me from doing it next year. I'm absolutely going to do it. So there's a spoiler alert for you. But Winnipeg, Dallas, Colorado, all over 100 points. St. Louis is creeping up on it. Minnesota. Those are the teams in the wild card, all Central Division. So this is a really stacked, really deep division. And Nashville, I'm actually curious to see if this is a bad year or if Nashville has really kind of torn itself apart in a way that's not fixable in the near term.
I mean, part of me has used this as a reference, and I don't like using it as a reference, but it's there. To me, and it's because it just shows my old fandom, right? Reminiscent of what happened between the 2019-2020 of the San Jose Sharks when they bought in, right? Like they looked like they were going to go all in. And then what happens in 2020, they fall and go down towards the bottom of the league, which no one expected.
Yeah, especially, and that's the thing is now you clench a little, right, as a GM, because you've spent so much money and now you're tied to these guys and they don't appear to be working out. And by way of complimenting Bill Armstrong, thankfully Utah doesn't have that problem.
Yeah, Utah doesn't have to. So far, Bill Armstrong hasn't made any, for lack of a better term, boneheaded moves. There are some maybe you might scratch your head on, but I feel like Bill Armstrong has been very smart. He's been playing in this rebuild incredibly smart, and you can tell he doesn't want to rush anything. He wants to stick to a very set timeline here.
And Robyn, just before we get to the break, I do want to mention, so we are going to talk about the Utah Hockey Club's Masterton Award nominee, which will tell you what that is and who was nominated for it. Plus, we're going to talk about Fan Appreciation Night. There's a lot of things going on for the Thursday night Nashville game. So, and you're probably hearing this on a Thursday. But I do want to take just a moment to recognize that while we're talking about general managers, part of my Preds family, Ray Shero, passing away at the age of 62. And just want to send out condolences to the Shero family, and just such a great person, good hockey mind, and someone who'll definitely be missed. So just wanted to make sure we pass that along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, And I feel like whenever you get someone who's made a huge impact in the hockey community when they pass away, if you could feel it, even if like if you're someone that hasn't been directly impacted by that person, you still feel it because maybe your favorite player or whoever else you might know, there's still a connection. The hockey community is it's very connected in so many different ways, and that's what I love about it.
Yep, very small, very tight knit. So, all right, let's talk about the Masterton Trophy, and even give you a little background on the history, who it's named for, and all that, and then we're going to tell you who the Utah Hockey Club nomination is because that is already out.
Do you have trouble sleeping? If so, you're not alone. That used to be me, lacking rest, tossing and turning. I was late for meetings. I never felt like myself. That's until I found Bare Mattress. Bare Mattress and their sleep recovery technology helped me fall asleep faster as well as enjoy deeper sleeps. I felt like myself again, and you can too. Bare Mattress knows that every sleeper is different. That's why they have their sleep quiz on their website that finds you your perfect match. As a side sleeper, I matched with the Elite Hybrid mattress, and I've been telling everyone in my life they have to try Bare Mattress risk-free. You can sleep on your Bare Mattress up to 120 nights, and if you're not getting the best sleep of your life, you can get it refunded. They'll pick it up with absolutely no hassle. So go to bearmattress.com and use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use my promo code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com. Use my promo code LOCKEDONNHL for 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code LOCKEDONNHL.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño back here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Subscribe already. It doesn't cost you anything. Just subscribe. And then give us the thumbs up if you're on YouTube as well, because that does help us with the algorithm, and it helps you find more great hockey content as well, like our other Locked On shows. If you're ever curious to see how the other half lives, if you will, I suppose, Robyn, you could always check out a game preview from the Nashville side if you wanted to do so in this case. I mean, not the worst thing in the world. Plus, there's the NHL National show. We drop our squad show once a week, so there's plenty of stuff out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like, and I will say this: I'll give a lot of praise to very, very many of the other hosts here in the Locked On NHL Network. Very great people. So honestly, I do recommend you guys, if you really want to, go ahead and give a listen to Locked On Predators. Ann Kimmel, who runs the show, she is very sweet. Absolutely love her. We've done a couple of crossovers every now and then in my almost 4.5 years with the Locked On Network. I feel like it's been a long time I've been with this network, but definitely recommend that, as well as the national shows too. They're all great.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on what went wrong this year. I mean, that's that Nashville's. I'll tell you what, if any team has an off season where they can dissect everything that happened this year, it's the Nashville Predators.
Hey, you know what? If you guys want a crossover with Locked On Predators, if you want me to get Ann Kimmel to come on to do a little crossover episode for the final game between these two later on, let us know, and I'll definitely reach out.
That'd be an awful lot of fun. I think maybe we'll do that with the teams that don't make the playoffs, Robyn, and we can all commiserate together and figure out what we're gonna do in the Central Division.
That'd be interesting. A really big
top five.
Really big squad cast of all the non-playoff teams, at least in the Western Conference, because the Eastern Conference, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, East. Yeah, like they'll ever win a cup. Okay, want to get to talking about the Bill Masterton nominee for the Utah Hockey Club, and the Masterton Trophy itself is actually a pretty special award. So the award description is: it's given to the player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to the game. So each chapter in the PHWA, which is the Professional Hockey Writers Association, nominates a player from the team it covers, and then the winner is selected through all the PHWA folks voting in a poll at the end of the regular season. And this year, it's Mikhail Sergachev who's been nominated for the award, and it's named in honor of Bill Masterton, who very unfortunately, is the only player ever to die from an injury sustained in an NHL game. It happened in 1968. He was playing for the Minnesota North Stars. Masterton fell, hit his head, and passed away several days later from the injuries. So it's unfortunate, Robyn, but the memorialization of this award really highlights some of the struggles that players go through and the perseverance required to keep on going. Connor Ingram, last year from the Utah Hockey Club is a great example of a past winner, and Sergachev is nominated this season.
Absolutely. And it really, I really love seeing the stories of all, a lot of these awards, and we see how it goes. As you mentioned, you mentioned last year, Connor Ingram was a winner, dealing with, the struggles that he went through. I think even the year prior, Clayton Keller was a finalist. He didn't win, but he was a finalist. Now is having an incredible season after having literally broken his leg in half the previous season. And it really just shows, there's so much more, and it goes beyond. It's not just injuries, it's mental health. It's things that, other health issues like cancer or whatever. Because at the end of the day, Tom, these guys are human. They face the same struggles as we do. And when they overcome these issues, and they're like a role model. It shows that, hey, we can overcome these issues, and you guys can too.
It's really interesting, especially I remember reading a lot along the way and hearing from Sergachev himself occasionally during his process trying to get back on the ice. And it is both a physical and a mental battle.
Yeah.
That's not something that I think folks think about. They're like, oh, you're an athlete. When your leg heals, you can get out there and skate. When you skate at an elite level and you're used to, doing things on their skates that most normal humans can't grasp, there's a mental aspect of, well, geez, if I go to turn on that leg, is it going to support me? Is it going to be the same? Will it come back to 100%? There's a lot of that.
There is a level of fear that goes into place, and the player won't admit it most of the time. But there is that little subconscious level, I think no matter what level you're at, right? And I'll tell you, Tom, real quick, even to this, to me, even though I know I'm in a very low risk situation, like I still have the fear of having getting a concussion playing in this sport, but
sure,
I
because
still do
it's
it.
The reality of playing the sport.
Yeah, we still do it because I still love it. And I put out, we all put our best effort out there, and we all do what we can. And I think that's what's, really unique. And I'm, glad that, that we're seeing a finalist, or at least a nominee, I should say, nominee from Utah, and Mikhail Sergachev, on this award, because, he's someone that very well deserves it. Someone that's overcome, injury, and specifically, that, I said, lower body injuries, leg injuries, they were really tough to come back from.
Yeah, absolutely. So best of luck to Mikhail Sergachev, and congratulations on the nomination for the Bill Masterton Memorial Award. Want to talk about Fan Appreciation Night coming up here, Robyn? There's plenty going on the evening. So Utah fans, if you're going down, even if you're not, maybe we're going to change your mind on wanting to go down for the last regular season game, and a couple other topics we want to tackle here. Robyn and I will be back in just a moment.
And today's episode brought to you by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to keep you fuller longer. Personally, I'm someone that loves cracking open the shells. Like, I love the feeling. I love the effort that goes into it. Plus that a little bit extra saltiness to me. It's really good. But whenever I'm on a road trip, I always love getting that no shells variety because it's easy as popping. I don't have to worry about trying to open the shell while I'm still trying to keep my hands on the steering wheel. it just makes things easier. Like maybe when I'm going to LA or when I'm going to anywhere else in California, when I'm taking a road trip to Vegas, wherever I go, that's what I grab. I'll grab a bag of no shells of the wonderful pistachios because it's just really easy to do. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
Okay, Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño back here with you for the final segment of today's Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Thanks for joining us. And, the everydayers know that we've been talking about stuff both on and off the ice, Robyn. What's been going on with this Utah Hockey Club? I will say they've done a nice job of really coming in and I think being very progressive in a lot of areas for this Utah community. Ryan Smith seems to be a guy who, for lack of a better term, puts his money where his mouth is, and that is in his love of, his home. And he has a lot of pride in the area, in his teams, in the community. And the Utah Hockey Club, I think, has done a very, very good job exemplifying that.
Oh, yeah, they have. And I think that's, that's also kind of one of the biggest things that I was, curious to see what this team is going to do. What they want to do is they want to go out and just make sure that they reach out to all fans, right? So they, no matter what kind of night we're having, right? No matter what kind of, home game or whatever, you're going to have that level of celebration.
And to that end, the Utah Hockey Club did have a UtahHC Pride Night on Tuesday night, and wasn't widely advertised, but the item of the game was a long sleeve T-shirt that had the same rainbow logo that they put on the scoreboard to announce that they were having the game. And it's interesting, Robyn. We don't want to get super political on the show. That's not why we're here. We're here to talk hockey, but with the balance that they have to strike, not announcing it, but still doing it. It's kind of, it's not like they built up a huge fanfare around it, but I think at least reading the comments of some of the folks who were there and were able to attend, I think the support is appreciated and is acknowledged.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of what a lot of people, that's all a lot of people just ask for. They kind of ask for just the, some level of acknowledgement. I mean, like, I'm glad they did this. The item of the night, as you mentioned, the Pride T-shirt. My understanding is it sold out like within minutes after opening the doors. Like, that's honestly really cool. It shows that there is that level of support within Salt Lake City, within the Utah hockey fan base. People are buying into that, and I'm glad to see that that's the case. Not to mention, shout out to, I think he's, just a couple of players who wore the Pride jersey into the arena, not on the ice, but into the arena, as well as, I think who it was, and I'm already blanking on my head, but
Sean Dursey and Liam O'Brien wore them in. Yeah,
Sean Dursey and Liam O'Brien wore them in, and Lawson Krause for sporting the Pride tape in warmups.
Right.
Again, I'm not, we're not trying to get political here, Tom, but like, I feel like just a little piece of color on a tape, it means a lot. It means so much to so many people.
It does. It does. And if you want to know where I stand, I can't ever imagine judging someone by anything other than how they would treat me personally. So that's just where I stand on that. The other thing I want to talk about is Fan Appreciation Night, Robyn. Unless you have anything else you wanted to add. Sorry, I didn't want to move on too fast there.
No. I feel like, we've said enough.
Okay. So we started the season with a party. We're finishing the season with a party, which is cool with me. I mean, that's always fun. So here's what's going on. Thursday ahead of the game against Nashville, or today, as you're hearing this, they're having a fan appreciation party on the plaza outside of Delta Center. So here's just a smidge of what's going on. Interactive games, face painting, balloon artists, photo opportunities, a live DJ, BOGO 50% off offer on all team store merchandise. Did you hear that? BOGO 50% off, buy one, get one half off on all team store merchandise. Now, limited edition Utah Hockey Club inaugural season commemorative items available exclusively to fans in attendance. So these are exclusives in this pregame party. A free inaugural season jersey patch, which we talked about last show. There's going to be the IKEA seat upgrade for 2 fans whose upper bowl seats will be upgraded to lower bowl, which is awesome. And then they're going to do a bunch of giveaways in the arena, including autographed memorabilia, signed sticks, pucks, and more. Doors are at 5:30. The game is at 7. And then they're going to do the team awards. And that's going to be after the game. So stay in your seat after the game concludes, because you're going to hear the awards will include MVP as voted by the team, the 3 Stars Award, the leading point scorer, the Community Obsessed Award, which, by the way, is a Smith Group buzz phrase. That's something that they want everyone in the organization to be community obsessed, and the All-In Award, which is another one, as voted by the fans. So I thought that was pretty cool, although voting for All-In has already closed. The nominees were Ian Cole, Barrett Hayton, Oli Mata, and Jack McBain. So, Robyn, is that enough to get you through a game night, pre and post? I mean, are you happy with that? You cool?
I don't know, Tom. I feel like I feel like it's hard to top opening night having Shabuzi in pregame.
Well, yeah. I mean, a little party on the plaza there too. So they didn't say who the DJ was, but so there's going to be music spinning, and I'm interested to know what the exclusive inaugural season items are going to be. That one I'm curious about.
Absolutely. That'd be really interesting, at least for that one. I know there's going to be auctions too for, I think, the game worn jerseys. I know that's going to be happening.
Right.
And it wouldn't surprise me. And again, it's not going to be a whole, maybe they might put auctions out there for this now or sell them later. I don't know. You tell me, Tom, what they might do, but essentially say, hey, do you want a piece of the rink? Essentially, just, when they essentially melt down the ice, they put a little crystal pucks. Like, hey, this is a piece of the inaugural season ice.
That is a pretty cool thing, and I guarantee you they're going to do that for sure. I don't see why they wouldn't. There's just so much cool stuff that you can do, the commemorative items, and I'm looking forward to it, Robyn. I really am. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be an awesome evening just to celebrate the NHL in Utah. I mean, how many people thought this would ever actually happen? If we rewound 18 months ago, this wasn't even a conversation. No one was even thinking about this. We were all pointing, and I'm the same person. I was pointing at Houston as a place that I thought would go first, Atlanta, which I thought would follow closely if it was one of the teams going there. Turns out they're the leaders for expansion in the clubhouse right now, and an outside chance at Kansas City. Salt Lake City was not on my radar. And heck, here we are.
Even 365 days ago, some of us were still in denial that this was actually happening.
Well, there's that. Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. But look at the growth just over the course of this year. And now we're talking about a practice facility opening in September. We're talking about new name, new logo coming up over the summer. And really celebrating what has been an incredible journey this season. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And I will say this, Tom, and I feel like, it's really important for me to say this as someone that's been around for as long as I have covering this team. Seeing the instant buy-in from you all on this show, right? As much as I loved, again, if I had to, however many of my remnant long-time Locked On Coyotes listeners, if you're listening, I love y'all. But I know a lot, not everyone stuck around, but so many of you bought into this show pretty quickly. Once we started the rebrand, and it's, and you guys have voiced your support, and it's been amazing.
And a whole brand new cadre of everydayers coming out of the Utah area, or Utah transplants, or however you found us, or you just wanted a new team to cheer for. Maybe you were just tired of cheering for the Buffalo Sabres every year. No, I'm kidding. But we still have the Bills. So Robyn, before we wrap things up, I just want to get the keys to the game against Nashville. Number one is don't let them get going because they did score 7 goals in the last game. Number two, remind them it's a road game. Remember, they're terrible on the road this year. As I mentioned, 9-25-5. And number three, turn the focus inward. And I think that's an important one because I want this team to focus on their game. That's what matters right now. Don't worry about what Nashville's doing. Show me what you are carrying forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the remind them it's a road game. I mean, it's also, remember, not just any, and for Utah, and it's not just any home game, right? It's their final home game of the season. You want to treat these fans to the best show you can give them.
They better double nail down the roof at Delta Center because I have a feeling it's going to be loud and explosive.
Or just bring a seismograph.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Check out the decibel meter, look at the size and see how much stuff is shaking in there. We'll know by the cameras, right? When they score, you always see in the end zone camera is always a little shaky as they show them going to the bench. Maybe it'll be a lot shaky showing them going to the bench this time.
It's gonna look like an earthquake, or maybe it actually does cause an earthquake in the downtown, in just that downtown Salt Lake area.
I better hope not. All right, Robyn, time to make our picks. Here are the FanDuel odds. Utah is a -205, Nashville +168. Over under at 5.5. See anything you like there?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like this is the game in which I'm gonna take the over. This is the game in which and mainly it's because I want to see Utah almost replicate, not exactly replicate, but almost replicate what they did to Seattle, right? I want to see it. I mentioned earlier, I want to see a similar performance. I want to see this team come straight out of the gates, show them who's boss, and prove that they are, in fact, the better team. Because we know Utah is the better team.
They are. And you know what? I want to take the over, which is why I'm going to take the under, because I'm so bad at over-under. I'm going to go ahead and say that these two teams coming off each scoring 7 goals apiece are gonna end up with a 2-1 final.
Yeah. Or I can go or I can go super misconfidence, right? And say might as well parlay my over bet with the spread.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Yeah, I could. I'm sure there will be more than a few goals scored in this game, but I don't know. 5.5 that's a tough placement. If it was 6.5, I would definitely go with the under because I think maybe I could see 3-2 fairly easily. But then again, I could also see Nashville not really scoring much. If you didn't give up much to Seattle and you didn't give up much to Winnipeg, that's the other thing. And we're going to have to talk about this next week. But the way the defense has been playing lately, I've been pleasantly surprised at how much better the D's been. So that's an important thing. So maybe Nashville doesn't score that much.
Maybe. I'll put out a final score to kind of that fits my bet prediction there. It's gonna be a 5-2 Utah victory.
Okay. Well, you know what? Just to stay under the under, I'm gonna go 4-1.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to go with. I'll go 4-1 Utah. But I definitely think Utah's taking the 2 points in this one.
Yeah. I have no doubt about it.
All right. So, Robyn, any final thoughts as we wrap this episode up?
No, I just telling all the fans, enjoy this final game because this is a reminder, unless you're someone that's super diehard and going to be going to prospects camps and whatever, is the last Utah hockey, or at least, NHL Utah hockey we're going to be able to watch until October.
Yep. And while there will be some Stanley Cup playoff hockey within driving distance or a short flight, come on out and support the hometown team. And there was nothing saying, by the way, as I read through things, I don't think you had to have a ticket to the game to go to the party. So if you want to go to the pregame party, you can always just go downtown, park, walk over to Delta Center, hang out for a while, and then maybe go grab dinner on your way out or go to a watch party somewhere.
There are watch parties all over downtown. I know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it is absolutely worth going to check out. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. So, all right, well, final home game of the year, and Robyn and I will be wrapping it up in our next show. We're going to take a look back at the end of the home schedule here, and then Utah's got 3 left on the road after that. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you being a part of the show, as always. And for Robyn, I'm Tom. This has been the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.